I had it was a tweet up of sorts for small businesses in Seattle last week at a hospital, which is kind of funny because some people checked in at the hospital, and their friends were like, "Are you okay? You just checked into the hospital." I'm like, "No, I'm fine. It was just a meetup." So it's kind of humorous. So, I talked to a restaurant owner. I'm like, "Well, why don't you just put a sign up there right up front saying, if you tweet about, what you ate, we'll give you, 20% off or something like that." And you just put the sign up. Like, whoa, like a 20% coupon for tweeting? I'm down. I mean, even if you're not on Twitter, I'm like, well, maybe I need to be on Twitter because it was 20%. That's something worth doing. Or there was a Build-A-Burger place, or I guess it was just a regular restaurant in Hawaii. And in a recent social media conference out there, they were having people build their own burgers. And what was cool about it is that you could, put all these different ingredients together. And I'm like, well, are you sharing their recipes online? Are you posting to Flickr and your Facebook? Are you YouTubing their comments? Are you getting? They're like, no, we didn't even think of that. Your community is creating the content for you. You're just giving them an outlet to do it. So, creating something worth talking about is usually, I think, the big stopgap.
The question I hear all the time is, how often should I tweet? How often should I post? The answer is when you have something valuable to say, or when you find valuable content. For Twitter, for me as an example, I'll go in peaks and valleys. When I go to a conference, if the speakers are really good, it's insane. Barb Chamberlain. But, then I'll go through total droughts because I don't really have much. If I get caught up in work, I don't worry about if I have tweeted 2 or 3 times a day. It's when I genuinely feel I have something worth sharing that'll provide some form of value.
Well, I think what we look at, we shouldn't apologize because all of us have been trained over the years with one-way communication. And I say this as someone who comes from a marketing and advertising background. That was the traditional model of marketing and advertising, and it was very much, based on mass media and one-way messaging. And I think if you're a small business owner or regional or a niche-oriented business owner, this is something that you should be excited about with the technology that really exists within the last 10 years, but especially so in the last 5 years. Because this really empowers you to fight the big guys. I think I see a lot of people nowadays, I think they still think, well, social media is the, JetBlue. You hear about JetBlue on Twitter, and you think it's for the big guys. And actually, I think it's very much a great equalizer for the small guys. And so in the same way that Chris is talking about, tweet about what you've eaten, I've been to coffee shops where, if you go on Yelp, and a coffee shop says, "Tell us you saw it on Yelp." If you're a small business and you have something that relies on reviews, which every business does, places like Yelp or TripAdvisor or whatever's oriented toward your niche, you should be asking customers to write about their great experience, or if you love us, write about it on Yelp. That doesn't cost anything, and most often people will appreciate being asked to do so.
I just want to highlight something you said. That doesn't cost anything.
And to use an example, I needed a case study for a local search conference, so I optimized Fernando's taco truck. So there's a taco truck on 2nd and Washington.
Yeah.
Fernando's great, Tacos El Sol. So I said, hey, Fernando, can I do this Google local search thing for this conference? And he had no idea what I was talking about. And I said, it's a good thing. Oh, okay. So do it. He ranks #1 in Spokane for taco truck and authentic burrito and authentic tacos and stuff like that. And a couple weeks later, I went back, and he's like, Ed, what did you do? I'm like, what do you mean? The goggle. People keep seeing me on the goggle. What is it? I'm like, you mean Google? Yes, everybody keeps saying it. And he already had one video on YouTube, and the YouTube thing is what really blew up because he did a second video where he was the star. And he's like, hello, I am Fernando. I am owner of, we are open from 11 a.m. to 3 a.m. in the morning. And and their family did it, and it was a one-take wonder. It's a 5-minute, one-take, handheld thing. You just love Fernando and his family. And you cannot get more real than that on YouTube. And I talked to him about 3 weeks after, maybe a month after the video went, and he was like, I'm thinking about getting a permanent location. I'm like, no more wheels? Dude, the wheels are good for you. And he's like, no, but business is good. And he's talking about expanding his business. Not just, it's also a great taco truck. But, he's using it. Actually, he's not using it. Other people are using it on his behalf for case studies. But he's engaging it and he's seeing it. Anybody could do that. The trooper pooper guy, and you can do it.
You want a question?
Yeah. I have a question. I have a small business, and it did start out as a .com that kind of made it through the bubble and became a new economy business. And now that's been 10 years, and it's just me running it. And I want to expand into more social media, but I'm trying to also check orders online, get emails from everybody, and how do you have your eyes have enough, power to go through the day to keep doing all of that? Are there any secrets?
This is really not profound. I'm sure there's a much more technical answer, but you'd be surprised how many people in Spokane I have to teach about things like tabbed browsing. And there's a lot of, automation plugins that can help the materials come to you instead of you having to go out to materials. People in Spokane don't understand RSS. The Spovangelist blogging team got together. We published a blog Bible in print to try and bridge the gap between digital and physical paper. And we contemplated putting in a page explaining, educating people, this is what RSS stands for, Real Simple Syndication. This is how you use it. This is how you integrate it into all of your tools. I'm not kidding. When I worked at KYRS, Thin Air Community Radio, as our volunteer coordinator, I had, volunteers bringing me images for logos for their radio shows on floppy disks. This is Spokane. We have issues here. We need to catch up. That's concerning to me. It's kind of quaint and adorable and precious in one sense, but in another sense, I find it actually threatening from a standpoint of global competitiveness and so on and so forth. I see that as an issue. It's a problem. It's not okay. I'm kind of digressing from, but anyways, you're not alone. And again, get those experts around you, your friends who you think might know things. Start asking them for favors. They'll sit down with you. They'll give you a personal lesson. And that's how you get along.
And we have all these loyal customers because they've had amazing things.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Loyal customers. So
Yeah.
they're your evangelists. They're the people who are going to help you. Potentially, if they know they're already connected to Twitter and YouTube and Facebook and Yelp and
Well,
blah,
can
blah,
I
blah.
interject? That's part of the problem because my customers are kind of an older group, and they a lot of them learned about our company because Andy Weil said in his book, Healthy Aging, that we're a company that he feels is highly reliable. But I think there are book readers, not so much internet people.
But have you asked?
I now in my company.
Have you done a survey,
Yeah.
of the audience? Are any of you on Twitter or any of you on Facebook or
I
any of you
haven't, no.
savvy? Okay, well
No.
then ask the question.
Well, that was kind of what I was trying to say is that it's just like I'm overwhelmed and I don't have enough money to hire other people to do it.
Okay.
But my eyes are tired.
But I know you're overwhelmed, and what I'm
Yeah.
saying is your most loyal customers, even if of the however many you have, if just one of them gets it,
Yeah.
that's all you need.
Really?
You just need one of them to get it, to understand the landscape of Twitter and Facebook and YouTube and the like, to help you carry that message, and they'll do it.
That's
They may
awesome.
not. They may even do it, I should say, for no compensation at all, because they care so much about the product, because they're so passionate about the product.
Yeah.
They'll do it on their own volition. So don't stress out about it.
Okay.
Just ask.